The Fetterman campaign has filed a lawsuit or joined a lawsuit challenging state law that only allowed for mail-in ballots to be counted on Election Day, starting at 7 in the morning. He thinks that that's unfair and has filed a lawsuit to try and change that.
ABC's Derek Dennis in Pittsburgh. Some ABC News exit polls show economic issues are at top of mind for voters. ABC's Brian Clark at the decision desk.
76% of voters in a preliminary exit poll say the economy is not good or poor. Just 19% say their family's financial situation is better than it was 2 years ago. 47% say they're in worse shape. 80% said inflation has caused them hardship in the last year. Republicans are trusted to handle inflation more than Democrats by 18 percentage points.
Democratic activist Maxwell Frost projected to win the Florida 10th Congressional District, which could make him the first Gen Z member of Congress. Frost, who is 25, was running against Republican Calvin Wimbish in the House seat left vacant by Congresswoman Val Demings. This is ABC News.
Attention all business owners who rent or lease space, including storage space. Stop wasting your money paying someone else for your space. You can now save a ton of money and own your own building with the incredible Black Friday sale prices from General Steel. That's right, start saving money every month on renting space from others. Just call 888-74-STEEL to see how General Steel can help you save money. Our 50-year structural warranty buildings are custom designed for your needs and save you a ton of money. Call 888-74-STEEL.
Take it from a successful entrepreneur. If you need to expand or start a new business, you need General Steel.
Great team and the competitive pricing is the reason I went with General Steel.
Call 888-74-STEEL now, and you can get any of our popular quick construction structures, including a 40 by 60 foot building or a 50 by 100 clear span building at Black Friday savings. Call 888-74-STEEL. That's 888-747-8335. 888-74-STEEL.
Throughout your journey, you have taken care of yourself and don't expect to stop now. Stay on top of your healthcare needs and let Sante Physicians be your guide. If you are eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for your Medicare needs with more resources and locations than any other network in the Valley. Your doctor is here to provide you with the highest quality care, and you can act now by calling 559-234-1393. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
Fed up with your water softener and its time-consuming upkeep? Tired of undrinkable water? A LifeSource whole house water system is your solution. LifeSource reduces hard water problems like softeners, but with LifeSource you get more. LifeSource reduces chemicals and contaminants for great water from all faucets, and there's no maintenance. LifeSource installs it, you forget it. For a free consultation, call 559-330-1850 or visit lifesourcewater.com. That's 559-330-1850. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
Now, midterm election results and analysis on the Valley's election headquarters. News Talk 580-1059, KMJ.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to just kind of muck our way through this tonight? I hope so. We're going to do our best, and we are a cast of dozens. Here live in the KMJ studio, me, Ray Appleton, of course. Ladies first, and new to us tonight. I'm so happy to have Nicole Parra joining us this evening, former Democratic Assemblywoman. My dear, welcome.
Hi, thanks. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here tonight.
Crazy time.
Crazy time.
Michael Dermanuel Jr., sir. Hi.
Ray.
I always know you're going to say something brilliant.
No, I'm not this time. It's great to have Nicole here and great to have this all-star panel here tonight talking through what we're hopefully going to see are some results tonight, finally.
Yeah, maybe around the country, but not so much for California and locally. I don't know. John Broeske, hi.
Hey, good to be here, Ray.
What did the county clerk tell you about tonight's local results?
Well, he said we will have the mail-in results shortly after 8, and the next batch of numbers will be 10 o'clock. And then the next batch will be midnight, every 2 hours.
Yeah, we're not saying here that late.
And then they're going to count tomorrow and Thursday, and then Friday's a holiday. And they think they'll probably wrap up Monday.
Isn't that nice? I was saying earlier, remember when you and I have been here, long time. We'd come in here and we'd be done by 9. Mm-hmm. We'd know everything.
Right.
You remember those days too, Michael.
I think it was better then.
Oh, yeah.
But as I said the other day in my commentary, why do we call this Election Day? This is really vote counting day.
Yeah.
We have 3 weeks of voting. And
we have 7 days after Election Day for things to be turned in.
So.
Right.
It's just gotten to be messier and messier, but nobody can really say that it's hard to vote because
No.
there's so many opportunities to vote, and as an added convenience, people will chase you to get you to vote. So you have harvesters; they'll come visit you. If you just can't bring yourself to do it, they'll come and help you.
You know, the problem is I have to learn all over again how to watch election coverage.
Right.
Because I'm watching this national stuff, and all the mail-ins come in first, which generally favor Democrats because they like the mail-ins better, I guess.
They like to get to it early, sure.
And then the day of don't come in till later, so I'm looking at all these numbers. It's all blue everywhere.
Be derelict in duty if I don't get Philip in here, who's running the whole show tonight. He's in charge of all the knobs, so what's going to happen is because of him. Bravo, Philip. Welcome. Hi.
Hi. If we have to be here until Friday, Blake did not bring enough pizza.
No, he did not. Looked like good pizza.
We can get
though.
more pizza.
That's always easy. Well, I mean, obviously, panel, we can talk about what's going on nationally and what it looks like it may be a flip in power. Are we seeing anything that we didn't expect? Anybody?
Yeah, I am really surprised to see Kari Lake trailing as badly as she is. They've got 51% in Arizona, so we're not conclusive yet. But right now, Katie Hobbs leads her by just short of 200,000 votes and 13 percentage points.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't look good. But again, what votes are we looking at? Mike, remember, every time...
Isn't that where we had a problem, though, earlier today?
Well, every time we've done election coverage, you go, where are the ballots coming from, right? What areas are they? Now we got to think, were they mail or in person? And I don't
we
know
none of those are in-person ballots.
Right.
None of them.
What happens? So what does it mean?
Right.
Well, I think that it means that you're going to see Arizona tear itself apart, demanding recalls in every county.
Well, not necessarily, because it may be Friday, may be looking at a totally different number.
I agree with you,
right?
but as far as people's reaction tonight, people are expecting, like Ray said, we are used to seeing results before we go to bed on Tuesday night, and for want of that, people are going to be pissed. It's going to generate uncertainty.
And all that noise in Maricopa County today,
Right.
the problems there,
just
which
doesn't
they went out of their way to say, it's fixed later in the afternoon. So disingenuously, I didn't believe a word of it.
And in the Valley, though, we're so used to competitive races, right? So when you look at from 20, 30 years ago when I was working for Congressman Dooley, you were always expecting, late nights, 5 or 6 or, 2 days later. Most of the competitive races, and we brace folks. I was out in the field at the polling locations this morning helping a trustee. Most folks, even in these competitive, as someone who's waited to be, 3 weeks provisionals, we know that election night things can change. And so I think we have a better grasp in the Central Valley because of the millions of dollars, because of the close races. We do expect to have better numbers. And then because most people now are voting by mail, I can have a whole conversation about, how people are voting, where these voting centers are, the color coding. You may say it's easier to vote, but let me tell you, for a lot of folks, including, people that in my family, matching the colors to a voting center versus a drop-off, there's a lot of issues we have here. And so it's not that easy simply just because we're mandated now to vote by mail.
Amen.
Well, maybe all the things we've been doing lately are actually voter suppression. It used to be actually better to go to your neighborhood school.
Yeah.
Let's just walk a block.
Seemed
You know what?
pretty easy.
I missed that.
Yeah, I had that conversation on the way over before my phone died. So if anyone's trying to text me, my phone is dead for 3 hours. But you know what? I remember walking with my mom and dad 3 blocks to the church right there on Covina, and you saw the polling places. Today, the windstorm, I was helping people put the cones up with the flags, and it was behind 3 different industrial buildings. What is happening?
Something that Tucker Carlson said earlier tonight that I thought was interesting is his idea.
He said something interesting?
Remarkably enough, Tucker, yes. His idea to reduce the uncertainty about elections is to go back to what it once was. Have your regular neighborhood polling places, work with paper ballots, and of course he also require a photo ID. But do away with the computers, do away with mail-ins for anybody other than folks that have a legitimate need to mail in, and simply conduct these elections the way we did very successfully for, 200 years?
So in other words, he wants us to be France, because that's what France does. France banned mail voting in the 70s because there were too many opportunities for shenanigans. But France conducts its elections today exactly as you described.
Is it a bad thing because the French are doing it?
No.
No.
Actually, I've been looking for something to admire about how they run
the
their
bastion
their
of
government.
democracy.
And I found it finally.
Liberté. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I'm
I
getting
wish we'd
some
go back
state
to
numbers
it.
in here, I think. But it says with 0% reporting, Gavin Newsom 53.5, Brian Dolly 46.5. Is that a real number? With 0% reporting?
I think that's some just bored pushing buttons.
Well,
perhaps.
there was nothing there before. Now it's Lieutenant Governor Kounalakis 55, Angela Underwood 45. So we're getting some numbers in here, but they're not. They can't be. There's got to be a little more than 0% reporting.
That's just going to be the lag on data entry. They're so paranoid about security right now. They've got people marching those numbers over on printouts and typing them in by hand.
But it's very low, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Well, I'll tell you what's cool. On some of the big races, we already know, right? In Florida, governor and senator. Texas, governor. Georgia, governor. It's great to have some big, high-profile races settled. It's done tonight.
Yeah.
Right? And that's been sort of unusual in the past. And that Senate race in Georgia with two, I think, very flawed candidates. I think the strength of Kemp's margin might really help Walker because you'd have to have a lot of ticket splitting for Warnock to win with Kemp getting that many votes. So, but that still might happen. We may not know about that one for quite a while, but it is an important one in the battle to control the Senate.
I just think, people watching election coverage or listening to us should just remember that this could change drastically. Anything you're looking at, over the next couple of days.
And why are we here?
Well,
why we're here?
Well,
because we're waiting for James to give us a hint.
I mean, I hate to say why are we here, but it's going to change.
Okay, first numbers just coming in from Fresno County now. This is with a report rate of well under 20% of times cast. Brian Dolly leading right now for the governor race in Fresno County, 52% to Newsom's 48%. Secretary of State Rob Broeske way ahead on that. Controller Lani Chen comfortably 55.8% with the turnout so far in Fresno County specifically.
Anything on the AG race just for kicks? It's the only one I ever care about.
Well, let's see.
I mean, I think we really, if you have anything on Measure E, I'd love to see it.
No, that's going to be really wild to watch.
Bonta leading
54-45,
46, 54-46 over Hockman. Early going.
Measure E, the very first returns, it is 51%, 48% no on E at this point. Measure C, 61% in the yes. And the veterans measure M, also right now leading 61% to yes.
Yeah, we talked about it on the air. Measure E is to me it's a disaster, and it was a bad idea, and it may still pass. But if it doesn't pass, it'll be the first initiative where close to $2 million was spent trying to pass it against no opposition other than really on this station.
And this is supported by some of my dearest friends.
Yeah.
But it has been so poorly explained. It reminds me of the speaker saying, well, you have to vote for it before you know what's in it. Because, the president of the university sat where John's sitting now saying, well, after this passes, we will put committees together and figure out how we're going to split up this money and where we're going to spend it. And I'm like, you can't define what it's going for. Oh, yes, I can. A third is going for this and 2/3 going for that. And it's so broad and ambiguous, it's very poorly written.
I have to ask Nicole this question.
Yeah.
So one of my theories on Measure E is that even though we're already paying for the CSU, okay, and the state's flush with a surplus and a big budget and big CSU budget.
Not so much anymore, though. The state revenue is declining this time. It's going to be much more difficult, but go ahead, please.
If the voters say, hey, we're going to pay twice for Fresno State, would the talk in the halls of the legislature be something like, well, look at them. I mean, I guess we don't really have to worry about taking care of their unmet needs because they've already signaled that they're going to do it.
Well, to answer your question, so I worked on 2016, a $500 million bond for our community colleges. and we were able to measure J. And to answer both your questions is what we really did is we went to the Farm Bureau, we went to the businesses, and we got bipartisan support because we put an advisory committee together. We were very specific on the details. Our former Bakersfield Mayor, Harvey Hall, led the Blue Ribbon Commission. We did a lot of work on the ground, and so we were able to get our veterans involved, the law enforcement community involved, Republicans and Democrats from Senator Grove to, our Democratic legislators. So, but because our schools and our CSUs and our UCs and our community colleges, on the infrastructure needs. Now, I don't know all the details about Measure E, but one thing I can tell you, we will never have enough to be able to pay for basic infrastructure, from student housing to our science and engineering building we're able to build to a veterans resource center. So without the specifics on the Measure E for Fresno State, I can tell you, if you don't have the people behind it, if you don't have the bipartisan support, and you don't have the specific plan, and we passed our $500 million bond by 63% of the vote, right? Over 2/3. So I'm not sure what the strategy here is, what the goal is, but in the state legislature, no, this is the matching part. And that's one thing I talk to local folks about all the time. Whether it's matching dollars for transportation, matching dollars for education, Sacramento is looking for where is that match? What are you doing in the community? Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, Fresno's ahead of the game in a lot of these matching partnerships with the state, with Regions Rise and what your former mayor did, and Mayor Dreyer's doing now. And especially when you're looking at infrastructure. So not involved in this campaign, but I did run a $500 million campaign in 2016. And we had Republicans and Democrats with the plan supporting it.
As the ringmaster, I got to blow the whistle. Quick break at KMJ. We will continue with the midterm coverage. Live and in the flesh. We're here. I'm here. Ray Appleton, John Broeske, Philip Teresi, Michael Dermanuel Jr., spit it out, Raymond, and Nicole Parra. Of course, this is KMJ.
This election, we will have garnered a significant number of votes from people who may not have voted for me 4 years ago. And I just want to let you know, I am honored to have earned your trust and your support over these 4 years.
News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons. Sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, best product I've ever used, and amazing, I love my Navage. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
In my 35 years here at KMJ, one of the most successful endorsement campaigns I ever did, like 15, 20 years ago, was with a company called the Noble Truck Accessory Center. Oh, you remember them. I was going through my Jeep phase at the time, and no, they're not a four-wheel drive kind of place, but they helped out. It was beautiful, and guess what? I just bought another Jeep. But listen to me when I say, we love our trucks in the state of California. And the showrooms at either location of the Noble Truck Accessory Center will give you so much in the way of ideas to make your truck all yours and nobody else's. But there's no way that your truck is complete without one of the many products from Truck Covers USA. These covers are untouchable for work, play, and purpose, like on the job, babe. Take a look at their signature product, the American Roll Cover. Their covers protect cargo from theft and weather. And the Noble Truck Accessory Center has got them. All of them from Truck Covers USA. Ray Appleton and the Noble Truck Accessory Center's back together again. Blackstone and Sierra are out at Sunnyside. Click it. NobleTruck.com.
For 38 years, Break the Barriers has advocated for individuals of all abilities. Their services also include disabled veterans. This program relied on federal funding to support 700 veterans each month, including PTSD classes, therapy, and adaptive programs. Unfortunately, they will not receive federal funds this year, and veterans may not have access to most essential services. Break the Barriers needs your support to raise $118,000. As Veterans Day approaches, consider giving to their cause. To donate, go to breakthebarriers.org.
If you rely on power for assistive technology or medical equipment, you may qualify for assistance through your local Disability Disaster Access and Resource Center. For more information, visit pge.com/disability and aging.
Experience the wonder and light of Illuminature, Fresno Chaffee Zoo's all-new cultural spectacular featuring handmade lanterns. You've never seen the zoo lit up like this before. Get tickets now through January 22nd at FresnoChaffeeZoo.org.
Recapping the midterms on the Valley's election headquarters. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Recapping it, huh? I don't know that we even capped it yet, but we're trying very hard. Ray Appleton here, along with John Broeske, Philip Teresi, Michael Dermanuel Jr., Nicole Parra. We are looking at the midterm, nationally, statewide, locally. One thing that people are always curious about are the ballot measures, and we had some different ones this time around. We are getting some results, so class, let them know. What's going on?
Measure 1, constitutional right to reproductive freedom, currently leading in the yes votes with 72.6% of the vote. Hundreds of thousands of votes above and beyond the no's.
What did that one mean? Anybody?
Basically codifying Roe v. Wade for the state of California.
I think it's more than that. It basically codifies abortion up to birth, as far as I can tell.
So the summary from
Is that right, Nicole, or do you know?
no, go ahead and read the summary. No.
Summary from Secretary of State says it amends the California Constitution to expressly include an individual's fundamental right to reproductive freedom, which includes the fundamental right to choose to have an abortion and the fundamental right to choose or refuse contraceptives. The amendment does not narrow or limit existing rights to privacy and equal protection under the Constitution.
And in California, you cannot have an abortion after the last trimester. So that's state law. And so it just
Governor
codifies
Newsom
the right.
said he was trying
Yes.
to get viability into this, and he failed.
Right. And
so it sounds to me like viability is not the limit to this.
But the state law is that you cannot get one in third trimester. So it codifies the right to have the choice to have an abortion, but its state law is still state law.
Okay.
And so yes.
But it seems like why didn't they put that language in this? Why did they leave that out?
Well, we already have state law, so it was just kind of codifying the Supreme Court and ensuring that the state is expressly protecting the right of the woman. Well, as the only woman on this panel, and I know I'm going to get all the hate mail here, but to be able to have the right to choose, it's expressly protected in California, and so it's overwhelmingly. I'm not surprised by over 70% supporting the woman's right.
I certainly would expect California to vote in favor of this.
Right.
I think everything on here, this very early, 2.9% on all of these, but I think they're very reflective of what we're going to see in the end.
Yeah, especially with the bigger cities, San Francisco and Los Angeles coming in very strong on this.
I mean, the only hate mail that I have for anybody is for people that think Roe v. Wade being overturned actually took away something from – it just returned the decision to the states. California's decided. I mean, it's decided. Right. And that's really – it really put the power over this decision back in the hands of voters and legislators and not the courts.
And somehow that's taking rights away.
I mean, I just think if, this country was formed with a strong emphasis on states' rights, and that's why the states are so different. And frankly, that's why people are moving all over the place. They're moving to be closer to the values that they want to live in, right? So people are, moving here or there. And so, I don't have a quarrel with this whatsoever. It's just the people have spoken, so they've spoken.
What else is going on with the ballot measures?
Both of the betting measures, 26 and 27, 26 being sports wagering on tribal lands, 27 being the online sports wagering outside of tribal lands, both being pretty readily defeated. 72.8% in the no on 26, 85.6% no for 27.
That surprise anybody?
No.
Not me. No way.
I think that I think people just vote no because this started about 4 months ago with the ads, right?
Well,
they spent like $200 million on this stuff.
Well, and the no campaigns they successfully put across that neither of these bills were written in plain English, that there was going to be little hidden landmines in there. in terms of litigation for tribes for for card rooms.
To me, this is something that should have been hashed out in Sacramento in committees and really nailed down. I mean, they're asking us to try to figure out this stuff.
Yeah,
two
and
of them,
you'll see some
right?
of this, once they reorganize in the legislature, recommit to the speaker, they'll start working on this in the GO committees, yeah.
And that's where it should be. That's where it
Right.
should be, I think, right?
Well, and I think that there's a lack of motivation. Anybody who wants to gamble, anybody who wants to place a bet, has places to go and do that.
And I think a no vote is like it stays the same, and I'm fine with the same, right?
Yeah.
Right, status quo.
Exactly.
Any more?
Number 28, public school arts and music education funding. That's a yes, 62.2%. And keep in mind, this is with 2.9% of precincts reporting. But that is a yes with a margin of 75,000 votes.
Have we gotten anything yet on the local tax measures? MCE.
I think we've gotten all we're going to get till 10 o'clock.
Is that anything? Did we get anything?
Yeah, on E, right now it's a no at 51.6. Measure C is a yes, 61.3. Measure M, yes, 61.4.
I'm just trying to think. One of them only needed 51%. Was that E?
That's E. Yeah,
that was just a.
And they've got how much?
Measure E right now is failing.
50 plus 1. Oh, no, that's what it needs is 50 plus 1, but 50 plus 1, but it's failing at the moment.
Currently, yeah, it's failing 51.6% in the no category.
So, I mean,
nothing's passing.
No, I mean, really, you could say that Measure E lies in the hands of if, in fact, more center-right voters went to the polls today, that really the fate is in the hands of those voters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that people that vote early, whoever they are, we'll find out who they are later, but let's say that they were lean center-left, they were actually against Measure E, if, in fact, that's true. So we'll find out. I mean, it's really super close, and when these next batches of votes come in, we're going to know a lot more because they're going to come in from Clovis and North Fresno. I think we can probably say that Terry Sladek is not going to be returning to the Board of Trustees of Fresno Unified.
What you got there?
He's got 25% in the first count, and Susan Wittrip's got 60. She spent with her benefactors enough money to run a mayoral campaign in Fresno to win a trustee seat. It was the only trustee seat where there was anything going on. So all the trustees that are up on the ballot will be returned. Sladek will be defeated, and that board will be as bad as it was before, maybe even worse, as Fresno Unified, a district that is collapsing before our eyes, is essentially ignored in this cycle by the business community, the chamber, Fresno's elected leaders who rather than put their own selves at risk to do something for the community, decided to lay out and do nothing. I feel bad because we've got 70,000 kids in this district being, by and large, very underserved, and we have a board of trustees that doesn't know what to do, and we have an executive leadership that has proven itself to not be up to the task of running a very difficult urban school district where you got language barriers and transitory families and all kinds of problems that make it hard in the first place. And if you're going to overcome that, you got to have superior leadership in every phase. And we do not have it, and we're not going to have it. And I blame Fresno's circle of 1,000, which is the 1,000 people that are the donors and the influencers and the elected officials and the business leaders. They didn't do anything here, and frankly, it disgusts me. So there you go. Any questions?
The individual who's obviously going to replace Terry, had 1,000,001 endorsements. She's not that well known, and unfortunately, I hate to say this about anybody. I don't know this individual, but everybody has said the same thing, that this person's not very exciting.
Listen, I sat and met with her. She's nice. She's smart. Okay, there's nothing wrong with her. But if you're going to fix an urban school district, you need a disruptive, chaotic force
absolutely
that will tell this community what is going on.
Yeah.
And Sladek, for all of his faults, is a Marine that ran for office and sort of held office like a Marine and did a bunch of stuff that probably wasn't smart. We know more about Fresno Unified because of the work he's done on this station than any trustee has told this community in my life.
That's true. It's absolutely true. Yeah.
Yep.
No, the pettiness of the board towards him is mind-boggling. I mean, the idea that they wouldn't even consider just fixing the fencing around Bullard because, well, Terry opened his mouth, so don't do it.
I mean, we're going to get a bunch of schools. We're going to get a bunch of schools renamed, and we're going to get a bunch of work done on stuff that doesn't make kids more educated, better prepared, smarter. Nothing. It's a disaster, a complete disaster.
Oh, but hey, they'll have all their phones in pouches tomorrow.
Thank God for Bullard. Seriously. So,
welcome to Never a Dull Moment on KMJ.
All the other trustees, all the incumbents are winning.
They seem pretty safe. The only one that's got a close race is Viva Islas, who's absolutely the worst one.
You talk about a personality.
Yeah.
Break time. News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ will continue with the midterm and our delightful panel right after this.
I wanted to thank you guys for hanging in. And if some of you have to go home, you can wake up tomorrow morning and see that the new senator for the great state of Georgia is Herschel Walker.
Hey there, Jack and Joe, Armstrong and Getty.
Join us at 10 right here on KMJ.
So you tested positive for COVID. What's next? Treat yourself. COVID treatments like Paxlovid are free. Taken by pill, these medications can stop the illness from getting serious. So treat yourself. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to find free treatment today. Again, that's 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Fall is the perfect season to cozy up in your new dream home. Hi, I'm Gary McDonald, and we have a few move-in ready homes waiting for you and your family in some of our most popular neighborhoods. Enjoy the highest quality craftsmanship and luxury amenities that have come to define a Gary McDonald home without the wait.
Visit our website or call Brian Hurdle at 559-307-1761 for more information. Gary McDonald Homes, California Contractors License Number 847905.
Over the last decade or so, Best Concrete Blocks has built about 1 million of these 2,000-pound babies. It seems like everybody and his brother has a concrete block loading dock or security fence. The railroad uses concrete blocks to keep copper wire thieves away. Irrigation districts use blocks to divert water in canals around the valley. And concrete blocks are really popular with dairies. They're just about the most versatile thing on earth. When you want to keep things in or out, consider concrete blocks for just $100 when you pick them up. By the way, concrete blocks are stackable and a great alternative to chain link or wood fencing. They're long-lasting, require no maintenance, and are interlocking with built-in steel hooks for easy lifting. Best Concrete Blocks are simple and cheap and can be delivered directly to your job site. Call 288-7902 or check them out online at bestconcreteblocks.com.
When we transferred to Personal Express Insurance, we actually saved over $400 and for better coverage.
Since 1984, Personal Express Insurance has been known throughout the Central Valley for their great rates. But their customers come with them and stay with them for what they like to call their local advantage.
I would have been happy just breaking out even because of the personal and the local advantage. But when we saved money, that was impressive. We like that.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Peralta, President of Personal Express Insurance. In these uncertain times, we want to assure you that our local agents are available to discuss your insurance needs. Everyone, please stay safe and stay healthy.
Call 559-256-1090. With offices in Fresno, in the Fig Garden Village, in Clovis in the Buchanan Crossroads, and in Visalia in the Visalia Pavilion. Or go to expressinsurance.com for a fast, free quote.
Would we recommend Personal Express Insurance? Absolutely.
Throughout your journey, you have taken care of yourself and don't expect to stop now. Stay on top of your healthcare needs and let Sante Physicians be your guide. If you're eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for your Medicare needs with more resources and locations than any other network in the Valley. Your doctor is here to provide you with the highest quality care, and you can act now by calling 559-234-1393. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
Now, midterm election results and analysis on the Valley's election headquarters. News Talk 580, 105.9, KMJ.
Welcome back to KMJ. It's about 8:35. As the midterm continues, we continue with our panel here. John Broeske, Philip Teresi, yours truly, Ray Appleton, Michael Dermanuel Jr., Nicole Parra joining us, the former Democratic Assemblywoman. And, it's Ray's rules. We're just getting what we can get, throwing it at you. And when any of, our panel wants to speak, they speak. But I am requesting we take a look at the Clovis City Council races. People are curious about Diane because she's one of us. She works here. Is she in?
Yes. Sure looks like it.
Cool.
Michael, you got the numbers right there?
I do. Drew Bessinger, who is the one incumbent in the race, he's in first with 8,600 votes. Diane second at 82. And then Matt Bagsall, who's the former police chief out there, is in third at 7,700. Then you've got a 4,500 vote gap down to fourth. So, and that's not going to be made up with the remaining votes. So those three will be the top vote getters, and they will be the three new members of the council.
I see Clovis Unified, a guy named Chuck Dermanuel there.
Chuck is first time out, and he's running behind Clint Olivier. And
Clint's like leading the pack here.
Yeah, and
Clovis Unified.
And
full disclosure, Chuck is your brother.
Yeah, he is my younger brother, and he sort of ran a campaign on social media and didn't have a lot else going on with it. I think he just wanted to make his voice heard, which he did, and he'll wind up finishing third tonight. And Clint and the other lady, is it Carrie?
Samantha Bauer.
I'm sorry, Samantha Bauer. I said Carrie Lake. That's the governor candidate in Arizona. Samantha Bauer look like they're neck and neck. So that's going to require a couple of refreshes because they're within a couple hundred votes of each other.
The Clovis Unified School Board 6, on the other hand, it looks like Dina Combs Flores at this point is very comfortably in the lead, a little over 60% of the vote. Her only competitor for seat number 6 was Bill Whitmore. He's trailing her by about 4,500 votes.
Hey, Ree, to bring some Kern County flavor to this
trustee
race, want to give a shout out to Dan Gomez Heitzberg, as she's a Kern Community College District trustee. She's the race that many of us were working the last couple months, volunteering our time, and she's winning right now. We just checked out the Kern County Elections website, and
so you're happy.
I'm so pleased. I'm very happy. They're all in the district office, not the district office, the campaign office downtown. I'll be joining them hopefully by 11:30 tonight. And again, I apologize, folks. My phone is dead. I don't know what's happening in Kern County besides Nan's race. So we'll see some other results. But I wanted to bring that up. Thanks, Ray.
But she's running against McCarthy's candidate.
Yes, she is.
So that must
yes,
be very
she
special
is.
for you.
Well,
wow.
and it got pretty nasty. It got pretty nasty with some, flyers that were like hand drawn around and trying to, scare people about student housing turning into crime and lowering property values. And I love it though, man, because you point it out, you outwork them, you out hustle. Again, it's still early, but I always believe that hard work with hustle, and you got to raise the right amount of money, and you get out there and you have a candidate who has, decades of experience, who has name recognition, who works hard. But one thing we're missing, folks, with all of these candidates in the Valley, debates. We used to have 6 or 7 debates between candidates. Now we have
a very common thing. It's just, they've just gone the way of the dinosaur.
They're gone. We keep reminiscing about how it used to be, walking to the precinct, voting, going with your parents, being and debates were something that you got him. I remember going into Shafter and Wasco. I had about 8 to 10 debates when I was running for the state assembly, and rooms were packed and questions were asked. Nowadays, you don't show up for one TV debate, it's over. We don't get to really understand where the issues are. It's like social media. They tweet out something. That's how they feel. An independent expenditure comes in, and we're really, truly missing the civic duty of folks to debate and really talking to each other about who's the best person for the job. It's so partisan now, and I'm sick of it. I want the best person for the job. Someone's going to work hard, someone who's not doing a job to run for further office, and get back to the basics. We have people who are, we need more water. We need more, to be able to bring in our energy component. We need stronger, like you were talking about, education, getting back to the basics. And we're concentrating whose tweet said this or who has the most followers, and no one's debating. No one's talking about the issues. Candidates aren't as strong as they used to be.
Preach, woman, preach.
Hey, I'm just saying the truth, especially knocking on doors.
Let me just say that I tried to watch 3 TV debates.
Yeah.
Local Channel 24 put some together in conjunction with a Bakersfield station.
Yep, right, Channel 17.
And in all of them, the Democrat didn't show up.
Right, you're absolutely right.
Why is that?
I don't know.
For
they
many,
just canceled.
And it's sad that
And
Hurtado
they ended up
didn't do
doing
it,
an hour.
Rudy didn't show up.
Well, the consultants tell
Right.
them not to.
Well,
and they don't get it. The DCCC and the folks out there in the Valley, you show up. You fight. You debate. You advocate for your district. You advocate for your community.
Well, and that's what's penciling out with the D22 congressional run right now. We're seeing David Valadeo ahead of Rudy Salas by 12 percentage points right now.
Is that district-wide?
That's district-wide, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a pretty clean lead. And we're still, this is still early in the reporting, but that's not a bad lead to have in that district, especially.
That's where I'd want to be right now. Yeah.
Well, you figure we got
points.
Democrats on early returns if they're counting the mail-ins first.
Yeah. I wonder about, and back to Nicole's point, and then talking about Valadeo, you got 12, 15 million in a rural district where your media costs per spot are really nothing compared to L.A. and all the metro areas, right? And so of the 15 million, I'm thinking, about the last 10 million of that is probably just a waste, right? Because
you can only buy so much time.
I mean, the first 5 million, isn't that enough? And what Nicole's saying is the debates, now we have 15 million, social media, and I think we're dumber because of all of it.
I absolutely agree.
Absolutely dumber because of it. A great debate that everybody would focus in on because it's their one chance to see them both, right? And you could learn a lot from that and make your decision. Now
and
we
do
got
a handful of them.
Now we got 20 pieces of mail, 1,000 TV spots. I mean, it's really a joke.
When you're watching TV and you see the same spot in the same break.
Yeah.
Right.
Twice.
You caught that too, huh?
Well, because they bought so much time, they can't get them all in different breaks.
Yeah. And the independent expenditures, you can't even, this person's trying to hide it through this pack and they're trying to, we've lost touch. We need to get back to the basics. And maybe Republicans and Democrats, maybe we can come together and try to figure this out and have some debates. What if we had a Republican and Democrat debate, right? Yep. What if we had that in Hanford and Bakersfield and Fresno where the parties could come together and we could have someone moderate? And we would have some really on the issues. Why don't we challenge ourselves to do that?
Everything old is new again.
But I tell you, it's kind of discouraging when you see somebody do it, put the debates together.
And then they don't show.
And it's televised, and one just doesn't show.
Right. Well, you know what?
It just makes it very frustrating to try to even put them together.
I'm willing to try. I'm willing to try. That's why I'm back home.
We'll have you book them, and we'll do them.
All right, let's do it.
Well, and going back to something that you said about the money confusion, where you've got I'll pick on Salas again for just a minute here, where you had Nancy Pelosi sending money to the Voter Protection Project, which was controlled by Andrew Jans and rebranded as VPP, to then go into the South Valley and buy ad time. As soon as that gets out, doesn't that immediately put people's hackles up about whatever candidate is supposed to benefit from this money laundering for ad purchases?
Well, let me tell you what happened in Kern County, too. The Republican candidates pretended they were Democrats, and they got on a Democratic slate. They bought a Democratic slate and said, vote for this candidate. He's a Democrat, and they're not. Trying to get Democratic votes in a nonpartisan race. That happened to 2 candidates. And they were called out by the Kern County Democratic chair. So I think what's happening again is people are tired of the games. They're tired of the candidates hiding behind these, trying to trick people. Like, I'm a Republican, but I'm going to be on a Democratic slate. I'm Nancy Pelosi, but I'm going to funnel money and try to get Republicans to get mad at David for voting to impeach Trump, right? It's all of these people playing chess with the folks and the candidates. They need to stand up. They need to say no to the consultants who make
20%.
the most money. The people who are laughing are all the consultants.
They are.
They're the ones laughing. And who in the district, what do we get? Another 15 million, like you said, another 20 million here. Yeah. It's a disgrace what's happening.
It's great for KMJ's ad revenue.
Oh, yeah. It keeps us
Someone's
employed.
gotta pay for this place.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. You're listening to our election coverage. on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Nicole Parra is here, Michael Dermanuel Jr., John Broeske, Philip Teresi, yours truly, Ray Appleton. And, a little slow to go on local stuff. We expected that. When we come back, we'll do some recapping. Maybe talk about some national stuff. Some of those key state swing areas where, everybody's looking to see if there's going to be a change in the balance of power. That and so much more as we continue right after this.
It is good to be here in this moment, surrounded by your love and support. And let me begin by offering congratulations to Governor Brian Kemp.
Ben Shapiro, outspoken and unabashed. Ben Shapiro, tonight at 9 on KMJ.
In my 35 years here at KMJ, one of the most successful endorsement campaigns I ever did, like 15, 20 years ago, was with a company called the Noble Truck Accessory Center. Oh, you remember them. I was going through my Jeep phase at the time, and no, they're not a four-wheel drive kind of place, but they helped out. It was beautiful, and guess what? I just bought another Jeep. But listen to me when I say, we love our trucks in the state of California, and the showrooms at either location of the Noble Truck Accessory Center will give you so much in the way of ideas to make your truck all yours and nobody else's. But there's no way that your truck is complete without one of the many products from Truck Covers USA. These covers are untouchable for work, play, and purpose, like on the job, babe. Take a look at their signature product, the American Roll Cover. Their covers protect cargo from theft and weather. And the Noble Truck Accessory Center has got them, all of them, from Truck Covers USA. Ray Appleton and the Noble Truck Accessory Center's back together again. Blackstone and Sierra are out at Sunnyside. Click it, nobletruck.com.
This report is sponsored by Bank of America. A new report from Bank of America found 4 out of 5 Black and Asian American and Pacific Islander entrepreneurs are committed to building generational wealth for their families through business ownership. Family is also a contributor to success, as 37% of AAPI entrepreneurs reported a family member helped them learn how to run their business. 39% of Black business owners pledge commitments to social causes through their businesses, resulting in positive business impacts. Here's Sharon Miller, president of small business and head of specialty banking and lending at Bank of America.
Investing in their family's future and strengthening community bonds are critically important components of business ownership for AAPI and Black entrepreneurs. At Bank of America, we're committed to providing business owners with the resources and expertise they need to navigate short-term challenges and achieve their long-term goals.
For more, visit bankofamerica.com/smallbusiness.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
Catch Fox News star Steve Hilton on The Ray Appleton Show every Tuesday exclusively on KMJ and streaming at KMJNow.com.
Let's do it as we continue our coverage of the election, the midterm 2022 here in the KMJ studios. We've got Nicole Parra. She's jumping up and down like a fish out of water for some reason. Michael Dermanuel Jr., John Broeske, yours truly, Philip Teresi. Local names that we are familiar with in this area, races with Esmeralda Soria, Adam Gray, and John Duarte, spit it out. Can we look at some of those? What's going on?
I've got Esmeralda leading, Mark Pazin, 53-47, with about 40,000 votes cast.
Okay.
Is that what you have there, Mike?
Yeah.
Is that up to date? I find that race very interesting on the law and order aspect of Esmeralda.
Yeah. She's come out strong as the law and order candidate.
Well, to go just head on into the former sheriff as the law and order candidate, I guess it's working. Is it working?
Must be. She's ahead.
She's ahead.
House of Representatives D13, Adam Gray currently leading John Duarte statewide 53 to 47. That's a gap of just about 3,000 votes on the statewide.
Got it.
That's not good. I mean, that's good. I like Adam Gray. He was good reputation in the assembly. He's a hard worker, bipartisan. He was always someone you could work with and trust. So I hope he takes it all the way.
Tom McClintock.
We're rooting for the farmer. We want the farmer in there.
I like Adam. Yeah.
Tom McClintock winning easily.
Well, yeah. No problem there.
So we can find.
How's SD 16? What's that look like?
David Shepard, the upstart Republican against Melissa Hurtado, the Democrat. Early voting 53-47 towards Shepard, the Republican.
Interesting.
Wow. And if, in fact,
that probably doesn't break your heart, Nicole.
That's very interesting, I'll say. I won't comment on that race till it is final.
Was Hurtado's problem just not showing up? I feel like I didn't hear a word from her. I didn't see an advertisement. I mean,
Right.
when she ran against Vidak, she was swinging for the fences, and this time she was just a ghost.
Right. No, I mean, that is true. And especially down in Kern County here, you had the Bakersfield Californian who endorsed David Shepard and pretty much saying, the Southern San Joaquin Valley to her is, pretty much ignored. She's really, I mean, she's from Fresno, and let me tell you, Kern County, Fresno politics and people are very tough about it. It's a Kern County seat, and I'm not going to be shy about saying, that was a seat that, obviously I ran for and care about the people, and I'm not surprised by the results so far.
Personal observation about Hurtado. This is just what I'm told by supporters and people who were former supporters, that when she was running against Vidak, new, refreshing, vibrant, wonderful, blah, blah, blah. Now that she's finished a term, it's kind of like some of these same people are like, what has she done?
Right,
So we're getting a little bit of that from, those that supported her.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens there. And, that was another race that, millions of dollars were spent to protect her. And, it's a shame that, it's a reflection of Sacramento picking their candidate and not listening to the people. But again, it's early. We'll see what happens. And but that's very interesting for someone out in Porterville, a Republican out of Porterville who everyone dismissed early on.
Back up to statewide for a minute. The race for controller, I expected Lonnie Chen to do better than he is. Right now, he is trailing Malia Cohen 42.5% to her 57.5%. That guy did a lot of footwork to be dragging that much.
Yeah, statewide.
The thing is, I think there was 3 Democrats in the primary. And so he got 40%, but the Democrats got 60. He beat the top Democrat, but the Democrats got 60, which is what they're probably going
to. That's what they're on track for, yeah.
Silence.
Everyone's
Simon
looking at their numbers.
Garfunkel, right.
We're all set. We're checking our numbers.
You're playing with numbers here.
Well, the L.A. mayoral race, I think, is one of the most watched races in the country because you've got, a career politician in Karen Bass, more of a legislative type person, and Rick Caruso, who's built a multi-billion-dollar empire in the real estate industry, big benefactor of USC, very well known in Los Angeles, going toe-to-toe. And, it really isn't a partisan contest. I hope voters there. I mean, it's in Karen Bass's interest to make it that way because it's a very heavily Democratic city. But that city is begging for executive leadership, somebody that can really look at all the problems and challenges that are facing that gigantic place and get them up on a whiteboard and start working on them in a methodical way, right? Bringing in good people into a cabinet. The solutions to what is really causing LA to be teetering in so many areas, they're common sense solutions. They're really not a GOP or a Democrat solution. And I think we've been really lucky to see someone of his skill set step up and run. And I hope he wins. I think it'd be good for the state of California if he did win. And if he won, I think you could be seeing somebody that after serving a term or two would be someone that could do some things for California also in the future if he's successful.
I'm going to break the California mold here for a moment. What's going on with the New York governor's race?
There was a lot of hope in that race, and there was a lot of hope in the Michigan governor race, and I'm not seeing any indication that Lee Zeldin is going to win in New York. Things have been very shaky there, and they've really got some absurd public policy related to crime and criminals and bail and what they do, similar to what we have in California. But I think there were some bellwether counties that he needed to do a lot better in early on. I haven't looked in a while, but he was trailing in some counties he really needed to do better in.
Trying to get the partisan stuff aside, she was just a poor candidate.
Yeah.
She was so bad on the debate.
Well,
she couldn't cite. I mean, everything was abortion in her world, and she couldn't cite the laws that she supported and the laws that she didn't support.
She was a classic lieutenant governor.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, she was
thrust into, not ready for prime time,
Yeah.
somebody said. Yeah. But maybe she has no choice now.
So kind of an interesting juxtaposition of Fresno versus California. In Fresno, Mark Buser won comfortably in both the partial term and the full term. And, of course, statewide, he's trailing 36.5 to 63.5 in the full term and just about the same in the partial term for the U.S. Senate. There's no surprise there that the Dems taking Senate in California.
They've got every, the statewide offices, the Senate, everything, as usual, right? By the way, I have a percentage here. Kathy Hochul, 54, Zeldin, 46.
Yeah, that's what I've got too. Yeah.
What percentage of the vote is in there?
That doesn't have it.
I mean, again,
it's about
that's a
looks
state,
like 4.5 million votes.
Yeah, that's a state that's going to have a lot of late votes that would be more independent to conservative.
And that's what's so frustrating about watching all this.
Right.
You go to bed and think somebody's lost. You might wake up and find out different.
Could very well be.
Yeah. I just came back from a trip to New York, and I'll have to say I had a lot of consternation about going there because I've been seeing lots of video and things that would seem to suggest it's kind of a war zone. It was anything but that. It really was fabulous. New York City was absolutely fabulous. Yeah, it was. It seemed to be really, really back to normal. Again, there were police everywhere, and
that's good.
People were not getting out of line, and the subways. The subways are a little tricky, but I was disabused of the notion that you can't live in a city like New York. I think I could live there, or at least visit there a few times a year. I don't think I could live there, but visit definitely.
I don't quite see that.
Yeah, I like visiting, and I worked in D.C. for 6 years, but West Coast has it. And the subway in New York in the summertime, woo,
forget it.
Forget about it, yeah.
The next batch of votes for L.A. Mayor Rick Caruso's pulled a little bit ahead of Karen Bass.
Wow.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well,
what is it?
It's 50.26 to 49.74.
That one, that's a couple days out.
There's millions of ballots out there to be discovered, though.
Right.
So.
Well, and looking at the balance of the Senate at this point, Politico is saying it is still a clean toss-up. The Democrats held on to New Hampshire and Colorado. Republicans kept Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia, and Pennsylvania too close to call.
It's going to be one of those nights where you're not going to learn really anything until, a day or two down the road, probably.
Maybe we should reconvene like Friday morning.
What do you think Kevin McCarthy's thinking right now?
I don't know.
Our Bakersfield.
Should we call him up and ask him?
He's a Fresno guy now, too.
Well, someone could text him from here.
Let's take a breather on KMJ. We'll come back and jump into the second hour and see if we can make any progress on this monster at all. Stay with us.
It's probably just allergies. I'm probably good to fly. I probably don't have COVID.
Take the probably out of your plans. Test for COVID-19 if you've been exposed, when you're feeling sick, and before and after traveling and gathering. Learn more at covid19.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
For 38 years, Break the Barriers has advocated for individuals of all abilities. Their services also include disabled veterans. This program relied on federal funding to support 700 veterans each month, including PTSD classes, therapy, and adaptive programs. Unfortunately, they will not receive federal funds this year, and veterans may not have access to most essential services. Break the Barriers needs your support to raise $118,000. As Veterans Day approaches, consider giving to their cause. To donate, go to breakthebarriers.org.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-932-4177. 800-932-4177. 800-932-4177.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, good morning. You're heading the airport, right?
Yeah, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code DRIVE for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code DRIVE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code DRIVE.
KMJ. This is the Valley's election headquarters. News Talk 580 AM, 1059 FM, KMJ Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
Your voice, your vote.
We offer a ray of hope that better days still lie ahead.
Ron DeSantis, the ABC News projected winner of Florida's gubernatorial race, besting Charlie Crist.
I am proud of our achievements in this state. I am honored by your support, and I look forward to the road ahead.
ABC News also projecting Brian Kemp has bested Stacey Abrams in the Georgia governor's race, and that Kathy Hochul has won election as governor of New York, the first woman to be elected to the post in New York State. No major problems were reported in Tuesday's voting. Brennan Center President Michael Waldman, though, says look for the discord to ramp up online.
It's in the 12 to 24 to 48 hours after Election Day when the malicious and malevolent rumors pushed for partisan purposes begin.
With continuing coverage of the midterms, Richard Cantu, ABC News.
Now, midterm election results and analysis on the Valley's election headquarters. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Ladies and gentlemen, back with you live in the KMJ studios. Joining us, Philip Teresi, John Broeske, Michael DeManuel Jr. from the Lincoln Club, and of course Nicole Parra, the former Democratic Assemblywoman. What has changed in the last 5 minutes? Anything? It's been a little slow to go.
Doesn't seem like it. I think, a lot of these numbers seem to stay the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised to see Secretary of State is only reporting that, according to their website, there's only 5 close contests statewide, and that's House of Representatives District 45, State Senate District 4, State Senate District 10, State Assembly 70, and State Assembly 72. And they're right, they are all within a margin of sometimes dozens of votes. But Is it early to say there's only 5 close contests in the entire state of California?
Well, I think Senate
This is a
District
little
16 has got to be in there too. This is the Hurtado district, and Senate District 4, isn't that the district that Radonovich ran in, where they wound up having the top 2 were Democrats in a heavily Republican seat, and it was a little bit of a faux pas on the part of the state party to not consolidate behind a candidate. But
that was just weird.
Yeah, it was.
There's 2 Democrats in that district. You're right.
Yeah, but
50 to 40, 50.4 to 49.6.
There's a couple of thoughts. It doesn't look like a red wave across the country. It looks like some solid victories in some states where a lot of money was spent to get rid of some Republicans that obviously went to waste. Democrat governors in New York and Michigan appear to have prevailed. There's not going to be a tsunami or a wipeout, although Republicans might gain narrow control of the House, which I think would be good.
Well, it's still going to be by 20, 25 seats, I'm sure.
Well, but I'm saying it's not an Obama midterm, right? And so, I think the lesson here for McCarthy is, I really think playing rope-a-dope is not a good strategy. When you think your opponent is hurting themselves, and your strategy is just, well, don't get in their way. I think it's a classic.
No, go for the knockout.
A classic political strategist piece of advice. Right?
Yeah.
Is just hey, if you put something out there that people can rally around, well, you're also risking being attacked for what you're putting out there. So don't do that. And so I've said this many times leading up to this election. Yeah, the Republicans might gain some strength, but who the hell knows what they plan on doing when they get power? I don't know, and I pay attention.
Do you think this is a good opportunity for a reset? The reset of, all right, the House, if it goes to Republican, Democratic Senate, you still have the White House, your ability, even in looking in the Central Valley, to be able to say, all right, let's reset. Let's figure out what we all need to do. And I don't buy the messaging Democrats or Republicans. It's also about the candidates too, and the candidates being able to demonstrate through depth, experience, and be able to communicate in a better way. And I think we also need to reset voters, how voters are voting, and really look at whether you're an organizer, which I consider myself a grassroots community knock on doors type of person, to be able to say this worked in the midterms and this didn't, and really fix what we need to do for 2024. Because we have a presidential election. We have the president who selects and gets through Supreme Court justices. When I was an adjunct professor at Cal State Bakersfield teaching political science, civil liberties, and civil rights, it's bigger, and we need to communicate that, whether Republican or Democrat or NPPs. And I think this is a great opportunity to everyone to look at themselves, and I hope there is change. I really hope, if I'm sitting here in 2 years, that all of us sitting here have made a difference too, and a commitment to making a better democratic process, and everyone steps up to the plate, and we see some changes in our processes here.
I wish
Ray.
everybody was ambitious as you,
Well,
but
I just don't want to give up on the system, and I don't want to give up on the candidates. And I think both the candidates have to do a better job, and we have to hold our folks accountable, but we have to also make the process more accountable.
Is the problem the accountability of the process, or is the problem the 24-hour infotainment cycle? Yeah. Where we've got folks on the right and folks on the left that are going to constantly paint the people that aren't on their team as blood-sucking, baby-killing vampires.
Philip, I think there's many problems.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
So you've identified one. I think the central problem in my 30 years of being an observer and being in the smoke-filled rooms at times is that every decision is made today with a calculation with how that's going to impact your power in the future. Seriously.
Yeah.
And I became more and more disgusted with that line of thinking. And a lot of people that we all know, and I'm not going to name names, but that's how they think. That's absolutely how they think. And so That's what they're interested in, power. Well, what conversations are we going to have about what you're going to do when you obtain the power? The first conversation is, how do we not give it up? How do we not lose it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the cycle we got to break,
Right.
Nicole.
And it's both parties.
It is.
And it's
It absolutely is.
And you know,
I'm talking about Republicans.
Yeah. And I don't want Democratic parties from DC or Sacramento telling us who we should pick to represent us. People should pick. But we need to make sure that that we're communicating, that we're going back to the basics. And I hate social media. If I get one more text, asking me or trying to persuade me to vote, or if I have invited to one more Zoom room, phone banking, I refuse. Give me a folder with a precinct map. Let me know where I vote in person.
Yeah.
And let's get back. And I want to go to 3 or 4 debates, and I want to ask people questions, and I want the candidates to show up and not hide behind their consultants. Done. Let's change it.
I wonder if the social media component is even bigger than the networks, because I do think the networks do a tremendous amount of chasing what they see come across social media. And this isn't a Russia diatribe so much as it's we are at our worst when we're comfortable, safe behind our screens. Mm-hmm. It's a never-ending road rage cycle that lives in the device in your pocket. And I have no earthly clue what solves that besides watching Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk torch the 2 biggest networks.
If I could just throw in my 2 cents.
All
My
right.
problem is I think we have some real differences, like energy. I mean, I want more oil.
Right.
The Democrat side, they think the Earth's going to burn up.
Well, but there's an integration. Look at big oil. They're already going into the research doing renewable diesels.
Yeah.
They're already looking at
what
the
else can they
technology
do?
of direct air capture.
They're basically being told we're going to put you out of business, so they're trying to stay in business
Look,
by going into the renewable business. But we still need oil.
Look, oil companies are feedstock agnostic. They don't care what goes through their refineries as long as they're making some money. And believe me, I know that
but
through
we
programs.
need oil.
We still need
Yeah,
it.
We still need it.
We need it all.
And we need to quit pretending we don't.
We do.
We
need to produce it in California.
And I've got differences with our governor in Sacramento on crime.
Right.
Huge.
And I've got differences with the border. I mean, so there's real differences in how we want to approach things. There are issues.
But you and I are talking right now together, right?
Yeah.
So, but this is what's happening. I'm going to tweet something you said and put it out of context and get everyone to hate you in 5 minutes.
You're not going to do that.
No, but you know what I'm saying?
I'm
That's
kidding
what's
you.
happening.
I know.
They're not hearing you in context.
Yeah, of
You
course.
said we have differences.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
We do.
And let me explain my position. I want to hear your position, and let's find where we can find common ground, right?
Yeah, well, that's what we've been trying to do in California. Is like
Right.
instead of telling us you're going to just stop
Right.
allowing us to buy a gas-powered car in 12 years,
Right.
why don't we have a real plan?
Right.
That's like a bumper
Well,
sticker.
let's make sure the grid isn't as vulnerable as it is,
Yeah.
so we don't have these public safety shutoffs.
And we need
more microgrids to help our rural
and we
communities.
need fossil
right?
fuels to have a
Right.
good grid.
Right.
And we just need to admit that.
Right.
You know?
But we need it all. I'm a true believer. We needed all the above.
All of the above. I'm with you on
Right.
that.
See? Right there.
Hey, we agree.
And I didn't demonize you. You didn't demonize me. I'm sure there's issues where we're not going to find agreement, but we need to go back to having a conversation and not being afraid to and not being using the phone and social media to demonize people in our community. That's what we're doing.
But I agree with you, John. I mean, we need to produce here in the state of California.
Yeah, and we can.
We have so much in the way of renewable natural resources that it's going to be there for a long time.
Well, what's so frustrating? We have more cars than any other state, and we pretend like we don't need oil.
Yeah, it's
And
ridiculous.
we're producing only 30% now and importing 70% from other countries that have a worse policy on environmental protection.
Exactly.
And
So
so
we're
if we're
making
looking
a
at the
dirtier planet.
greenhouse gases globally, we're
Yeah.
not doing our fair share.
So even when we
So-
produce it exclusively in
Right.
this country, we become a net exporter. It still benefits
Right.
the world ecologically and environmentally.
Right.
Break time at KMJ. We got a bit more for you. We'll take it to the bottom of the hour and see where we're at that particular moment. But we'll be back in a couple. Stay with us.
We know how much is at stake in this election. So thank you for being with me, and I'm grateful that we are together every step of the way.
KMJ.
Get Fresno's morning news tomorrow at 6, only on KMJ.
By now, you've heard the news. Vaccine boosters are available for eligible Californians. Boosters support stronger immunity and help maximize protection against COVID-19 and its variants. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find out if you're eligible and to find a booster near you. That's myturn.ca.gov. Stay healthy and strong. Get boosted. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Lou Rodman has a brand new name, a brand new location that will knock your socks off. Lou Rodman's Patio, Barstool, and Amish Emporium. Let me tell you, his customer base, have really embraced the Amish furniture lines. There are many of them now. Along with Noah Bontrager, you're familiar with him. There is now Amish furnishings for every room in your house. He's got it all. And much of it is available now at the new location. You don't have to special order. You can walk into the new location. You can pick out handcrafted, heirloom quality Amish furniture for every room in your house, and it'll be delivered right away. Lou Rodman's Patio, Barstool, and Amish Emporium. Of course, Lou still carries bar stools, hundreds available for you right now. Dining sets, bars. If you still wish to special order, you can. But me personally, I've gone nuts over the Amish. My dining room, Amish. My living room, Amish. My bedroom, working on it. It's next. It's on its way. Lou Rodman's Barstool, Patio, and Amish Emporium. Right next to Fashion Furniture, across from Lowe's. Remember, if you want Amish, pick it out and take it home.
For 38 years, Break the Barriers has advocated for individuals of all abilities. Their services also include disabled veterans. This program relied on federal funding to support 700 veterans each month, including PTSD classes, therapy, and adaptive programs. Unfortunately, they will not receive federal funds this year, and veterans may not have access to most essential services. Break the Barriers needs your support to raise $118,000. As Veterans Day approaches, consider giving to their cause. To donate, go to breakthebarriers.org.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
Where elections are won and lost. News Talk 580 1059. KMJ.
918 at KMJ. Back with you here in the KMJ studios. John Broeske, Philip Teresi, yours truly, Ray Appleton. Nicole Parra is with us, the former Democratic Assembly woman, and Michael DeManuel Jr. We're going to take this to the bottom of the hour, then probably bid you adieu and talk about it respectively in our own space and time tomorrow. But where do we want to grab it now, kids? What's up? Yeah.
Looking at the statewide returns now, 67.7 precincts reporting. Soria is leading Payson 52.6 to 47.4. That's a gap of about a little over 2,000 votes as it's being counted currently. So Esmeralda is leading in AD 27. Assembly District 8, big surprise here. Jim Patterson, 74%.
That's the easiest call all night.
Shannon Grove not doing too badly herself, 62.4 in Senate District 12. District 16, Shepherd versus Hurtado. That's a lot closer, a separation of just about 2,000 votes, which puts David Shepherd, the Republican, in the lead with 53% as of the last count at the Secretary of State's office.
How about the Valadeo?
Valadeo Salas, let me refresh it just in case. No new information there. Okay. 55.7, David Valadeo leads Rudy with slightly under 2,000 votes right now.
And as we've seen in the past in that area of the state, Valadeo could go to bed with a 5,000 or 6,000 vote lead, and so God only knows what's going on there. That year he was caught sort of unaware that there was ballot harvesting going on. And I believe they have a countermeasure that they've employed the last couple
Insurance.
of times. Yeah. And that's why he lost. I call T.J. Cox the most accidental thing that's ever happened here. I don't even think he knew how he won.
I believe I said that night, or the day after, I recall.
Is Kings County finished? Because usually they close pretty before 10 o'clock. I'd be curious to see if Kings County.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
They've got about 90% in.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job of getting to it.
And there's so few votes cast there.
Right.
But Valadeo's up 11% there.
Let's see, the Gray Duarte race looks like Gray's starting to pull ahead just a little bit more, 52.9 to Duarte's 47.1 with a separation of about 3,000 votes.
Of all the called races across the country, they've got Republicans picking up about 5 seats so far, which is not enough. So I think in a true wave tsunami type year, we'd have a lot more definitive results. If the margins were truly so big that you could call the races. I also think that some national media outlets are hesitant to call Republican victory as well.
Dare you say that?
It'd take a little longer. Just want to make sure,
Well, I'm going to be curious to see how all this ends up. If you, there's been a lot of question about polling. And, we had all these polls about the president being upside down on everything, approval rating, upside down on the economy, the border, crime, everything. It looked like a tsunami. And you just got to go, how could that not happen?
Mail balloting has made polling especially difficult, and ballot harvesting has made it even more difficult. And the traditional pollster could get great data going to calling 5 of 5 or 4 of 5 or 3 of 5 of the last elections, and you get a good sample of people that you knew were going to vote. And now I don't think they've figured it out.
Home phones. Remember where you would call people at home?
Yeah.
Now you're tracing cell phones, you're texting, and people are saying, what they want, what you want to hear. I can't even tell you, just even the last 2 days, just saying yes to get people off the phone.
That's it.
Versus when you're kind of at home, and let's say you're just, and you're going through and you're more willing to answer surveys, to kind of answer the pollster. You're in your phone, you're in the car, your kids, you're getting groceries. If they're smart, there's not a political, it doesn't say political number, and it's a regular phone number, so you might pick up, but you're doing 50 things. So the number of home phones, the comfort of pollsters to be able to get through their surveys, to have a good number, that's also changed.
Well, and I wonder how much screwing around with the pollsters there is. I feel like there was a spirit in 2016 of nobody really knows what's going on. And in 2020, I heard it over and over again. People were intentionally giving bad information if they got called by a pollster. And this is, look, every campaign, every candidate that texted me, I immediately replied with, I'm voting against you because you text me, lose my number. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not necessarily the truth, but if somebody's trying to use that as polling data, they have no earthly clue where I was actually coming from. I'm just mad because people are bothering me on my cell phone. And I don't know if the pollsters, the Frankie Luntzes of the world have caught up with the reality that people don't want to be bothered like that.
But are we to believe that people really don't have a problem with inflation? They really don't have a problem with what's going on at the border? They really don't have a problem with the increase in crime? Are we to believe that those poll numbers are wrong and everybody likes this stuff? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
I don't think it's a matter of believing that people like those things. I think it's a matter of I'm going to tell the pollster anything, like Nicole said.
Yeah, get off the phone.
Leave me
yes,
alone. I know,
voted,
but I'm just,
stop.
but I mean, but the polls said people were upset about inflation, upset about the border, they're upset about crime. That seems to me a reasonable answer. It seems like they got it right. So if that's not right, does that mean they actually are okay with all this stuff?
No. Here's the other side of that, okay? The Democrats didn't want to talk about any of that. They desperately wanted January 6th and abortion to be the issues, and they were in the second tier. Just knowing what the issues are, and I don't think they lied at all, but when they went to look to see what was going to be done about it if they made a change, what did they find? Did they see a plan? Really, is Kevin McCarthy really the kind of leader with the presence who commands respect and trust and inspires and motivates, and you believe him? And the answer is there's not a leader like that in the House on our side.
No.
And so, I care about that. But, come to think of it, I don't know if the Republicans have even given me anything to claw into to think they'll make any changes. And that's the part that's missing. Boldness.
Well, I heard them say, stop spending and drill. Get tough on crime, put people in jail.
But but they want to spend. They want to spend. Republicans want to spend 90% as bad as Democrats do. And by now we all know it.
Well, I think the message from Republican voters is stop the spending.
Yeah.
Okay, the message from Republican voters is drill. We want oil. We want fossil fuels. The message from Republican voters is put people in jail and leave them there. 3 strikes, you're out is good.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of Republican and Democrats in the Central Valley.
Yeah.
And the high propensity voters.
I'm talking about across the country, though.
Yeah, if you looked at, the data that came back, 50 plus, high propensity, Republicans, Democrat, NPPs, and a lot of the issues that you mentioned, people understand the issues. They just don't know who's the best candidate to deliver and to be effective.
But we know Joe Biden, he just said yesterday, we're going to end drilling. We're going to end coal. That's not going to happen. Even if he thinks it is.
And that was a dumb thing to say before, day before the midterms.
Apparently not a dumb thing to say. That's what I'm saying.
Well, in the real world, it would have been dumb. But.
Well, it is a dumb thing to say, but they got away with it looks like.
But if you're talking about the polling today on the midterms, on the candidates, the president will be, the Democrat and Republican at the national level for the presidency. They'll have to be answered to those questions. But right now, it was a lot of us involved in local races or the midterms. Again, it was kind of like it's an opportunity for us to look what worked and didn't work. And you know what? Polling, texting, tweeting, that didn't work. That's not working.
No, we need an autopsy on this election.
Yeah, that's one thing we can come back and do, right?
Well, and I think that you hit it on the head earlier. Have debates, get to know the candidates, hear what these people actually stand for, and if they don't do what they have represented themselves as being champions of, fire them and hire the next guy, and do it in the primaries.
Right.
Well, I don't know what to make of this. I think the comment about needing an autopsy on this election is well warranted.
And I think the way that these numbers are coming in, we really need to kind of dig into the mail-ins coming in first, the vote-in-person letter, and how do you watch this election return and try to figure out what's going on? The numbers just flip.
And, by this time tomorrow or earlier tomorrow, there could be some changes in these races, too.
Yeah.
We have to admit that,
Well, and that's the thing is, right now we have what I'm assuming is just straight-up mail-in data. And
a lot of it.
As far as Fresno County goes,
that's all we have.
We just don't have an answer. Although I would say that C&M failing on the mail-ins is probably a hint that they're going to fail generally if the conventional wisdom that Republicans vote in person and Democrats vote by mail. If the Democrats voted against spending, it's not going anywhere.
And E's behind, but are the Republicans that voted today, are they going to be with Patterson and all the other people that lined up behind E, or are they going to say no? And so those are big questions we'll figure out the rest of the week. Right?
It'll probably take a week to sort it out.
To be continued.
Well, we're going to wrap it up right here. My thanks to everybody. Nicole, great having you.
Oh, this was
Let's
wonderful.
do this again, please.
Yeah,
we need
fun.
you. It helped immensely, and we appreciate that. Michael DeManuel Jr.
Thank you, sir.
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. Broeske, see you tomorrow.
You got
Philip,
it.
thank you. See you tomorrow. The rest of you, let's talk about this tomorrow. And I like what John said. We need an autopsy on this election. And maybe it'll be a different scene, but we'll see what happens in the morning. See you then. Bye.
This is News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ and KMJ FM, Fresno.
8:30 in the east, half past midnight. 9:30 in the west. But right back over to the big board and Rick Klein, because we're tracking several of these key Senate races that still have not been called and aren't even close to being called. One of them, Arizona, obviously. So if you're watching us in the west tonight, this has national implications, obviously, and you know this. Both the Senate race, Mark Kelly and Blake Masters, and explain why we're sort of stuck at 57-40 here.
So what election officials told us is that they would do whatever they can to process the early vote that comes in and get out as much as they could, at least especially the stuff that got there early enough, and put that out as one big release of data. That's what they have done. Now they're waiting to start collating everything else before they have another massive release. They're stressing that there's nothing wrong with the process. You know, there's a lot of conspiracy theories flying out there. They're debunking all of them. These numbers are not going to be the same at the end of the night. They are very explicit about that. This reflects mostly the early vote. That said, Mark Kelly running up pretty big leads in and around Phoenix and down in his home county in Tucson.
And we know the early mail-in vote tends to lean Democratic.
That's right.
So not entirely surprising that Mark Kelly would take a sizable lead here.
That's right. And it's a state that has a lot of early vote, a lot of absentee vote. And as you can see, that is where Mark Kelly is picking up his advantage.
But they say we're going to have numbers by the end of tonight, before tomorrow.
We're going to get an update, but not a full count. And that's what they're saying. It's going to take several days.
This is really incredible. Now let's look at the governor's race. This is Kari Lake versus Katie Hobbs. Of course, Katie Hobbs is the Secretary of State, gained national notoriety because she certified that election. Joe Biden won. Kari Lake and Elections Deny are supported by Donald Trump. And again, we're kind of in similar numbers that we're looking at
which
here.
I'll tell you is a surprise. A lot of Democrats were expecting that Kari Lake would outperform where Blake Masters was, and Republicans certainly saw the same polling as anyone else. The fact that they're tracking as much as they can is probably a good sign for Democrats, because Mark Kelly has always been seen as someone who's a stronger candidate than Katie Hobbs. So if people are voting on a straight ticket in Arizona, that might be a good sign. Again, just watching the biggest county in the state, Maricopa County, the fact that you've got